Peace and blessings, family. Sister Ajali. Thank you, Brother Grove the Wizard, for bringing to my attention a medical procedure that is supposed to be a less caustic cure for cancer. However, upon a brief, overview of what is being utilized to cure cancer in a method that is less invasive, less destructive than chemotherapy and radiation therapy, horrible things where often the patient dies from the procedures before they even succumb to the cancer. And so it's understandable why a lot of people want to avoid any such tactic whatsoever, very smartly, very wisely. However, in the midst of that, we have been generationally indoctrinated to a level of ignorance that I suffered from myself at one point in time. And so this alternative procedure, and I don't want to highlight the sister who is developed it, and she seems very, very educated. I wish her all the very best success. But in just my intense research into all things radioactive, and I find that it is true, certain subject matter, if you want to develop a in-depth proficiency at understanding it, you can't just be doing a Google search. And this is my library, which I've read a good portion of these, and I'm going to be reading some more. You can go and get all these books. I was sharing the book list on my other channel that YouTube took down, but I'll repost it again at the end of this. And some of these I've gotten recently. I do not recommend this book right here, which is the reason why I've never listed it. I got it just in case, and when I read through it, I was like, oh no, this dude will get you killed. You can't go to Harvard to learn that sort of stuff. When you go to the medical schools, you learn very little about natural healing modalities. And so that said, Brother Grove had, the doctor responded to his inquiry as to why do black people have to be the guinea pigs for this procedure when just eating healthy is a method of not only preventing cancer but also curing it. And the doctor responded, which was very, very generous of her. And so Brother Grove tagged me in his comment, and this is a responsibility, what I'm doing, in terms of alerting our family about the ravages of Fukushima poisoning, contamination throughout our planet that requires me to step above my own wish to be nice, be kind, and not just enter a conversation with persons. And the last time that I highlighted someone was, I don't even want to say who and what he was, but I was questioning his sale of CMOS. And he waited a good long time before he responded, so that when I tried to engage him, because he did a share where he accused me of being fat with a fat mouth. Okay, I got a fat mouth, definitely, but that's all for you, family. But fat, no, when he said it, I was not fat at all. He was just being petty. When I was never mean, I never spoke meanly about him. And in the follow-up to that, when I did try to reach out to him, he dismissed me entirely. And his proof that his CMOS has been tested, full of crap. But as a person who knows the details about radiation, he would not want to have a conversation with me at all, because his whole profit is based on killing black people, and thereby I'm not accusing this sister of wanting us dead. She just was educated in the same system that you get like the bare minimum of natural healing instruction, so that you don't go to Harvard to become, Ayurvedic specialist. You don't. Maybe they have a couple classes, I don't know. It's a long time since I looked up their curriculum. But in the meantime, I know if you go to a hospital, an average hospital, they're never going to ask you, what are you eating? What are you eating? That inevitably is going to destroy your body's ability to make sense of what's up and what's down. And for me, because I documented that under the Biden administration, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, has approved the importation of all foods from Fukushima, even though the Japanese themselves in the Mainichi headlines admitted that the soil surrounding, they tested, I think, over 12,000 different areas, is still just as radioactively contaminated today as it was right after the blow up of Fukushima, when it spewed hundreds of tons of radioactive particles. And they didn't just stay around Fukushima, because I don't want to say other, but there's one particular person who I exposed him long ago, who I think just died. I believe his name was Watts. I just go by his name. And a black man, reportedly a nuclear physicist. But when I did the research into him, I found out that he was just an inspirational speaker. And people have been sending me information about him. Oh, he talked about Fukushima. No, he did not. He did the same thing that a definite shill, and I would call him a shill, the black man who died. And my condolences to his family. I'm not there going against him, going against the lies. But like Arnie Gunderson, definite shill. What I noticed about his exposing of Fukushima was he always kept it right around Japan, as if the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization did not find Fukushima radiation all over the world. They had the most state-of-the-art radiation detectors on the planet. And they found it all over the world. And you only need one atom to cause absolute destruction, according to Dr. Vasily Nesterenko. I mean, I could just, Dr. Yuri Bandashevsky, Dr. Rosalie Bertel, Dr. Ernest Sternglass. I could break it down, okay? So when I bring up my disagreement, that's what science is all about. It's not a cult where you can't ask it any questions. You can't just sit back and say, well, here's some other data. And then it just turns it down because you don't have a sheepskin. Right? These doctors need to be having that sheepskin over their mouths and over their eyes and tied up like handcuffs over their hands. Because they surely, not a one of them, I've gone to so many black-run channels and persons brought them the data. And because I do not fit in their narrative of where we can only get our healing information from, they've all turned me down, and it's only been turned up in terms of the assault. So when it comes to injecting nanoparticles into your bloodstream to cure cancer, is that going to remove the radiation from the food you're eating? Hell no. The body is very, very intelligent. It will repair itself with the right information that you take in through your food, and thereby, if you have even twins donating a kidney to the other twin, they have to go on immunosuppressant drugs for the rest of their lives, otherwise they'll reject that organ. That is not only a donation coming from the same species, it's coming from pretty much the same genetic makeup, and thereby anything foreign that's introduced to the body is going to be recognized as foreign. Radiation manages to hide itself and be factored in to the body simply because it is natural elements but radioactive. So your body will substitute them. If you're not getting adequate nutrition, it will substitute the radioactive contaminants for what it's not getting in its diet. Thereby, if you're not upping your nutritional intake, you are going to be taking in even more radiation. Thereby, to go to anyone who would just kind of like overlook what you're eating and doing on a day-to-day basis, that's not good medicine right there. But whatever it is, if it's not natural to you, it's going to cause an inflammatory condition in your body, and thereby that's the very state that facilitates cancerous conditions. That's dangerous. And why is everyone so fixated on something that black people we never used to suffer from? Cancer? It was never a problem. But I had a whole playlist called Our Transitioned, right? Before their time, where I just collect all the unusual deaths, and those are the ones that'll get reported in the obituaries. Mostly there will be no reportage. My apologies for my neighbor's very cute dog who thinks that he's a giant mastiff. So yeah, they don't report these deaths, but we've all noticed. And the World Health Organization, 2 years after Fukushima, said there's going to be a 70% increase in the rates of cancer worldwide, not just around Japan. And in Japan even, originally what the children were being tested for on their thyroid, they found nodes. Those are precancerous. And now what they are suffering from in exponential levels is thyroid cancer. The possibility of children getting thyroid cancer is as remote as a child having Alzheimer's by the time they're 5 years old. I know these things because I look them up, I research them. I am so committed to warning us what these doctors never ever take into account, that I'll do what's necessary. I'm figuring, because it's so hard to convince you to help me in that endeavor, I wrote my book, Furnace of Affliction, Healing Radiation Damage to the Human Body. It even took me time to realize, wait a minute, I keep running across cures. Not cures that you need to be injected with, but cures that you just eat them and you take them in. And you can't just go to a natural healer, a naturopath, unless they study it and understand man-made radiation and all its implications. But from all the books that I've gotten and searched high and low to get, is just, there's not, this is it, all right? This is it. When it comes to Fukushima and all the information I've garnered, this is it, okay? Because I'm the only one who knows, leave that damn seaweed alone. Leave the seafood alone, period. Okay? Because there's a woman who wrote a book that's very serviceable. But in the end, she recommended seaweed, and even she put in there a disclaimer where she said, well, you know, with Fukushima, it might not be so good to eat the seaweed anymore. Definitely not when they are beelining the recommendation, the peddling of sea moss to exclusively black us. So that gets me back to the nanoparticles again. There's a lot of folks out there who know what the World Health Organization has stated. I'm not saying that sister, who, as I said, I'm not going to say her name because I don't wish her any harm. I'm filming This is much later in the day. My king and I, we did a live stream, but I had to interject here that this impacts our lives. That's a different standard than just any grievance against someone that, I don't know. And I do wish the sister and everybody, I wish all peoples no harm. But when we're talking about genocide, we got to put all the facts on the table and not just get into a dogmatic mindset. This is a war footing that we are experiencing where easily identifiable black men and black women are being used to veer us into far more treacherous settings, and the search to easy access to our very bloodstreams is ravenous. That should make us wonder when people come with newfangled technology based on molecular size mechanics that can go into our bloodstream and start fashioning things in ways that we have no more control over within the sanctity of our bodies. Sometimes when it's coming in the presence of a black person and you've been put on multiple suspect articles and magazines, you just gotta wonder if you've got something as simple as amygdalin from eating apricot kernels, raw apricot kernels, as opposed to getting something so invasive. What are you really not wanting to recognize has already infested your very thought process? I'm just putting the questions out there, right? But they know the cancer rates are going to go through the roof because the planet, the species dying, is in the millions. I mean, the species dying are in the millions. The individual organisms is in the billions. Radiation does not stand still. It doesn't stand still. It's in all our food. They're shipping it in with no alerts going to be broadcast anywhere. The United States government just purchased $290 million worth of anti-radiation drugs. And they're putting out this whole fear-mongering. I'm not the fear-monger. I'm the one who comes with the cures, okay? Let's put it out there. They've got this whole thing, oh, we're going to drop a mother of bombs. You don't need a bomb for the most deadly part of the mother of bombs to do its work, so nobody even notices. Except I did. It's the radiation. Okay? And so, yeah, the injecting yourself, and that also reminds me, one of the things I found in going healthy over the last 13 years is it's very doable. Often what keeps us from choosing more healthy options is habit and tradition and just wanting to be part of the crowd. I remember when I first went vegan and I went to a family function with family members who, at that point in time, we were still having wonderful connections. But at this point in time, because they see I'm serious and I challenge their paradigm, things have gotten a little dicey, but it's worth it. It's worth it. But I remember they tried to entice me to eat some ham. I was like, I didn't laugh at them or anything. I said, no, no, no. My king, he's Muslim and he doesn't eat ham and he doesn't even want to kiss the lips of any person who would be eating ham. So, and they were like, oh, no, no, just a little bit. And I should have known right then and there, why would you encourage me to put a wedge and be secretively deceptive to the most amazing man I've ever met in my life? I didn't say that because I'm a diplomat. But at the same time, that's what I thought. I was like, why you, what? All right? Because once you start seeing stuff healing up in your body, once you start feeling just like every time I go running, like I ran yesterday, and I still feel phenomenal today, okay? That's potent healing that the media makes it seem as if it's impossible to reach, and there's not a bigger lie out there than that, right? It's not. You do it slowly. That's what I did, just incrementally using different things that made the next step not so far away. Because if I was still the woman I was 25 years ago, I'd be looking at me like I was an alien from Mars. But I'm not. I'm not. And I just am a natural me, only fortified. Ooh. It's very, very doable. I myself, little me, I know I've assisted many people in incorporating better habits, better actions in their, moving of their bodies so that they could see the effect. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not 70 years old. Hopefully I'll be able to reach that wonderful age. I don't want to be leaving here till I'm 130, really. And I'm going to do my best to work out and eat healthy every single day so that at 70, you'll be able to say definitively, oh my goodness, already at 60, people say when they see me, oh my goodness, and there's not an aspirin in our entire house, and my king, same age as me, just as full of life. That's not an accident because we both come from two different family lines. We're not these freak people out here who hint at all sorts of disgusting stuff. Yeah, two very different family lines. It's not an accident that we both make we don't even have to work on it at this point because we've been doing it so long that the good, healthy food is decadent because we don't make it so that it tastes like cardboard. And yes, Sister Gwen, I will do that ingredients book. That's it, family. I got this one. This one's good, but that's not my book. And I got this one, and I got this one. Excellent, excellent stories. I did all the edits on this so that everything is just like streamlined, amazing. Get it off of Amazon, okay? Yeah, so go buy these books. Support me. I can understand the sisters looking for funding because it's not easy to be of benefit. I am not saying her technology that she developed doesn't work, but all I'm saying is what's on our plates, all right? It's still there. It ain't going anywhere until you help a sister like me get the capital to test our food. We deserve that. We need that. For our children's sake and our future's sake, we must demand that. I love your family. Straight black family pride, and they can't catch us. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Brother Afro Grove.